Nobody likes to be sold. But you know what? If I was cold called and I like that person's energy, I would probably be more inclined to listen. I kid you not. The problem is if you're going to call me and you don't have high energy, it doesn't sound like you're hungry. It literally sounds like you're reading from a script. Well, personally, I'm going to do one of two things. I'm going to tell you I'm not interested, or second, I'm going to tell you to change your approach. I've absolutely been known to do that. Change your approach. Don't sound so automated. Maybe you'd have had a chance. Don't know what you're selling. Odds are they're trying to sell you leads or solar, right? Or an extended car warranty. However, if your energy is high, I might want to continue the conversation. I might try to flip the script on you. Have you thought about a career in real estate? Sales, right? Because that's what we do. I think you got the personality. I think you got the energy. But I like the way you do things. That's the way that I approach those types of conversations. I'm always trying to spin it. I'm always trying to be 2 steps ahead. But with that said, the point I'm trying to make is, no, you don't want to be sold. You know, you'll see brokerages from time to time sitting there. Everybody's picking up the phone, the cold calling. Everyone's excited. They're reading from the scripts. And, you know, can anybody tell me why we cold call? What's the goal of a cold call? Can anybody guess? The most important thing, what are you trying to do when you cold call a prospect? Anybody? As I sip my horrible coffee from this morning.
Set an appointment?
Yes, exactly right. That's exactly right. The goal is to set the appointment. Believe it or not, when you're cold calling, your job, your objective is not to convince them over the phone that you're the person for the job. It's to set the appointment. It's to get face to face. That's when tonality. That's when your body, right? The actions that you take, body language is very important, really takes control. You can't do all of that over the phone. You can still be enthusiastic. You can still sound pretty interesting. But the goal is to set the appointment. And guys, when we talk about working with sellers or how to generate more listings, we show you how to get in the door, okay? Where to find sellers, how to prospect. The dialogue that we're going to go over today is not cold calling scripts. Blah, nobody wants to do it. You want to cold call? Feel free to cold call. You can take the dialogue that I've created here today and you can create your own script. The problem is, again, the reason why we don't do the things, we don't take the prerequisite actions is because we don't know what to say. But is it really all that complicated? We know that they don't care. They just want to know that you have a plan. What are you going to do to market my home? And then it's blah, 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 blah. But you don't know what the blah, blah, blah is. You're not prepared. And that's the goal for today. Because if you're more confident in what the message that you're delivering, you'll attack the world. You'll have no issues. Let's go ahead. I'm going to scroll down. All right, guys, this is how you, this is dialogue. This is dialogue that you're going to create. Remember, there's only 2 things that sell a home: marketing and pricing. That's your plan. The goal is to make sure that they understand you have one. So how do we do that? What are the things that we should be saying? See, you set the appointment. You're sitting, you've done a tour of the home, you're sitting at the kitchen table. Now what? Well, you're worried already, right? The problem is perception creates procrastination. Remember that. Literally, it creates procrastination. You're not going to do something because the perception of the matter is that you're not prepared. You're nervous. You're worried about what they're going to say. Meanwhile, you're the professional. You're the licensed professional. So what you have to do is you have to take control, guys. If you go in, you take your tour, okay? You're asking the right driving questions, building rapport with that seller. And by the way, just so everyone is fully aware, sellers are not as scary as you think. Neither is working with buyers. Yes, your job. Look, we don't take it lightly. We're out there selling the largest asset that someone may own. Same thing when they're purchasing and they're a buyer. We have to take it seriously. But you're the professional. So you don't let doubt creep in. And you know how you don't let doubt creep in? You memorize this. You memorize what it is that you're going to do. You memorize your job. And through repetition, you're going to get better and better and better. This is my dialogue that I've created. I'm not telling you to read it line by line. But when I walk into a listing appointment, I don't bring anything. Although today I've got something special for you guys. But I don't bring anything. No. Yeah, I just walk through the door. Right? I've done, if you guys, again, I'll always refer back to previous trainings. And they're all recorded. So please feel free to go back and watch them again. Self-paced. When I walk through the door, I'm already prepared. I'm a two-step guy. I've done my research. I've done my homework. I've gathered as much information as humanly possible. I have numbers in my head, right? A low, medium, and high of where I'm going to price this home. And I will adjust for condition. But I know what I'm going to say. I'm not going to give them an opportunity to ask me a million questions because I'm not going to leave any doubt in their mind that I'm the right professional for the job. So when we're sitting down, right, and at this point, you know, I have a meeting out of the palm of my hand because we're basically friends at this point. But I'm keeping it buttoned up, very professional at the same time. But just because you're very professional doesn't mean you can't be personable, guys. It goes hand in hand. Sales 101. People work with people that they like. Believe me, you can memorize dialogue like this. And if you're not likable, they're not going to work with you because you're not the only one who knows how to do this. There are a lot of professionals out there. Okay. But when you're sitting at the table and they're asking you, so what's your plan? That's what they're going to, one way or another. What are you going to do to get a home sold? How are you going to market a home? What's the plan? If you're really good, they're going to skip ahead to where do we start? You can't think that way. But over the years, I'm going to be completely honest with you. Very rarely will I even need this. Very rarely will I ever need what I'm about to show you today because I've mastered it. I'm not here talking about, and here's the problem. Maybe you do have sales experience and you want to throw that at them. Here's what I've learned. No matter how many homes I've sold, they don't care. Your resume is cool, okay? But if you've never sold a home, stop worrying about it. It's only going to increase that procrastination, that you're not confident in your ability. You don't give them an opportunity to ask you those questions. You leave no stone unturned. You don't let doubt set in. You speak with conviction and confidence. That's how you get the listing. That's how you get the referrals. Stop worrying about how many homes you sold. Guys, you have to start somewhere. The greatest real estate professionals, because in the past 2 years, we've done over 100 million in sales in this organization alone, The Colony. It starts somewhere. It starts with you. And the goal really is to build that confidence. Everybody talks about sellers, buyers, right? But what do we say? Well, how about this for starters? Okay. You're sitting down at the kitchen table. You don't even let them ask any questions. Let me tell you, Kim, what I'm going to do to get your home sold. Before you've sat down, everybody's comfortable, table's clear, no distractions. Let me tell you what I'm going to do to get this home sold. As a professional marketer, your home has a story. It's my job to tell it. We start with captivating descriptions, professional photography, and marketing, which includes an element of aerial videography and a video walkthrough tour. Notice, pick and choose your spots here, guys. I go on to let the seller know that this is important, especially when we talk about social media target marketing. Now I'm starting to throw words out there, okay? And by the way, I'll paraphrase all this. I'm not going to go line by line. But the idea is to give you guys a roadmap here, right? A resource. And I'll go on to state that some of our services include uploading your home into the MLS. It's one of my favorite lines. And from there, it's going to be automatically syndicated to all the major third-party websites. Zillow, Realtor.com, Trulia. That's what they want to know, right? That you have a plan. Oh yeah, automatically syndicated. It's going to be blasted throughout the internet. I go on to leverage the organization too. We are a unit. Doesn't mean that you're going to have 100 agents at that listing appointment with you. No, it's only going to be you. But with our organization reach and digital background as a cloud-based brokerage, having a massive social media online presence is extremely important. Because that's not only where the consumer is looking, but respectfully, the buyer's agents as well. And what do I mean by that, guys? It's on the MLS. It's where the buyer's agent's going to find that listing. So we're going to pull the details. 95% of all buyers start their search online. What is that telling the seller? That we need to have an online presence. That's what's going to sell the home. That's what's going to help them achieve their goal. Can you market my home in the capacity in which you are going to leverage the internet to get it sold? That's what it boils down to. So I want to dive deeper into it. And you may have noticed yourself before thinking about a product. I mean, and I laugh when I talk about this, or a service, and then automatically it shows up on your Facebook, right? Or you get an ad for it on YouTube. That's the power of the internet. It's target marketing, right? So, and I go on to state that it's the largest and most important platform when it comes to marketing your home. Could I put it in the newspaper? Sure, absolutely. I could put it in the newspaper. Stop it, okay? Then I want to explain to them exactly what geo-marketing is. Geo-target marketing via social media and Google is what I do. Guys, you don't have to do these things. You want to be a professional at what you do? Then put in the work and the time to get the home sold. You know, most of the time, and I don't care about talking about competition when I'm with a seller or I'm interviewing for the job. Most agents will put your listing in the MLS and hope for the best. It's as simple as that. Are we all guilty of that? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, sure, professional photography, right? We know what it takes to get a home sold. It's the ability to market and price it. It's the most important thing, right? But what I go on to do for my listings is I create campaigns, sponsored ads, and pay-per-clicks using analytics like behavior, demographic, likes, and interest to place your home directly, yet indirectly, in front of consumers who are looking to buy a home like yours. You see, guys, that's the goal. That's the goal. That's where we're trying to place this home. That's the importance behind leveraging video and social media. You could put it in the MLS. Sometimes, and I don't know if you guys have ever ran into this, but even when you're working with a buyer and you think, or they think they know what they want, half the time they're sending you homes that are completely outside of your criteria. Target marketing will do that. It'll open up those parameters and those boundaries. It's our job to place. Well, what do you mean directly yet indirectly? Well, can anybody tell me what directly yet indirectly in front of consumers who are looking for homes like yours? Because yeah, I'm not literally posting this on somebody's timeline or on their feed. Right? That's what we use target marketing for. It's direct, yet it's indirect. We use behaviors to track interests, likes. The same way I articulate it to sellers is the same way that the internet knows whether you or not you were looking at that Dyson V11 vacuum. They know. Your microphones are always on. Your cameras are always on, right? Okay, not your cameras. That's a little creepy. But your microphones. The internet is always listening. So we use those same resources, but we leverage it. We use it to get your home sold. That's the power of the internet. But and then I go on again. If you guys are cold calling, this bottom portion says, I'd love to set an appointment to really break down the value and share with you in detail a unique marketing plan tailored to help you sell your home and show you what it looks like, right? So if you want to cold call, you can break apart pieces of this. But if I'm trying to sell Kim's home, I'm making it very clear that I am the agent for the job. I don't have to talk about my resume. I don't have to talk about the homes that are sold. I have to remotely understand what it is that I'm doing. I'm a marketer. Again, could you put it in the MLS? Yeah, you could. Just put it in the MLS. It will automatically be syndicated. Okay. But what is differentiating you from your competition? You don't give the seller an opportunity to ask you that question. If a seller asked you guys what differentiates you, what makes you different from the previous agent, and all things created equal, you sold the same amount of homes. I don't want to talk about that. That's not the importance. What's one thing that you would let the seller know? See, this is tough because this is why people don't go out there and do these things. This is why people don't go out there and actually create dialogue. You know how I learned what to say? I had a seller once tell me what I was. Yeah. I had a seller once tell me, because I had all this down. Then he hit me with well, why you? What makes you different? What makes you so special? He already knew the answer because he was thoroughly impressed. Definitely older than me. Knew what he was talking about. At that point, I thought, I had the listing in the bag until he hit me with that question. And you know what he told me? He said, I could see it in your eyes. You're hungry. I thought about it. Yeah. Yeah, I am hungry. I'm not complacent. I'm not content. When you hire me as a professional, I've got a job to do to the best of my ability. You have a goal to achieve, and I'm here to help you do it. You see, when you speak with conviction, you eliminate doubt. There is no doubt in my mind. Well, can you go on and tell me more about what you do? Absolutely. How about I show you? I have an 88-point marketing plan to help get your home sold. You think you're ever going to forget that, guys? You have an 88-point marketing plan to help get your home sold. What's the most important part? In the least amount of time for the most amount of money. There's no question that our proven marketing plan will get the job done, just like it has for so many of our clients. The question is, will you list your home for a price that will allow our marketing to work? And you ask yourself, what is that 88-point plan? Guess what? They don't want to hear you recite it. You've got the listing at this point. If you can get your message across, if you're clear, if you're concise, if you're confident, the 3 C's, you've got to be. And look, does it happen right away? Do you walk into a situation where maybe you feel a little timid? Maybe, maybe not. However, you're the licensed professional. You've set the appointment. Go in there and close it. Know what it is. Know what your job is. Know how you're going to do it. Does anybody think this is complicated stuff to remember? Again, you're not going in there line by line, guys. You're not. When that appointment is set, what is the first thing that you guys are doing once you walk through the door? Shaking hands, of course. Introducing yourself, of course. What's the first thing you're asking for? Anybody? When you walk through the door, you've set the appointment. Congratulations. Because you've been to our previous trainings to tell you how to set those appointments. Now it's game time. What's the first thing you're doing once you walk through the home? I'll check the chat box. Ask for a tour. Okay, Kim, you're on fire today. I wonder who trained you. Just kidding. Yes. Yes, you ask for a tour. Can anybody tell me why? This is your greatest opportunity to really get to know that home. You're explaining. Oh, Sean, let me finish this thought and then I'm going to get to you. But this is an opportunity for you to really build rapport. Hey, Kim, how are you? So excited to be here. Before we even get started, I would love a tour of the home. What do you think Kim is going to tell me? No, sit down. I want to get down to business. No, stop. 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 Perception creates, what did we say? Procrastination. Nobody is going to tell you that. Of course, they're excited to show you their home, right? It's their home. Now, what am I doing? I'm letting Kim know that, as we tour, please feel free to point out any highlights, your favorite features, even issues that you may be aware of with the home. I really want to be a professional on this property, on your home. This way, when I'm presented with any questions, when we do list, you see what I'm doing? I'm leading. When we do list, this way I'm best prepared to answer those questions. I'm leading, guys. I'm letting them know they're already going to list with me. Okay. And now, when I see that Eagles poster or that Eagles mug, as we make our way through the kitchen, yeah, I'm going to be human. I'm going to talk about the Eagles going to the Super Bowl. Oh, I see that BMW in the driveway. Oh, the listing's mine. We're connecting immediately. Right? I'm looking for those things, but at the same time, I'm not creating any doubt. I'm letting them know from day one, when I step through the door, that I'm here for them. Sean, you had your hand raised?
Yeah, I do all of those things, but I spend special attention and time to say things like, what do you love most about your home? What shouldn't be missed? And then I always, phrase all the things the way you said in terms of, what do you want me to really lean into during open houses? When I'm having my professional photographer come in, what do you want to make sure we capture? Is there an angle that shouldn't be missed? Is there something that's exceptionally proud to be shown? And that way I'm doing all the things you mentioned, but I'm also really attaching myself to the happiness. I don't ever ask for the warts. That's something that comes up later, but I want in that moment when I'm first in their house for them to associate me with what they love about their home. And I want them to associate me with what, like, the really joyful parts of their home. I don't ever want to say with a clipboard, like, oh, gonna have to change this paint. This light sucks. That's broken. Old stove, you don't ever want to do that. At least I don't want to do that, because I don't want them to look at me as a negative, especially if I had to fight for this appointment, if I'm going up against other people, if I'm being competitive. I want this to be smooth, clean, positive, fun, enjoyable. I want to set forth this idea that when I'm involved, that things are easy. I don't want to be a curmudgeon. I don't want to be a pain. I don't want to be a nitpicker. Just there. Show me the best parts. What shouldn't my photographer miss? When I bring them in, what angle is the best? How do you like this room? What's your favorite room in the house? What are some of your best memories of this house? What are you going to miss most? What do you wish your next house is going to have? And that's what I do in order to engender myself to them and also to get the story, right? Because when they go to see your listing photographs, you don't want to miss that stuff, because that's going to create an anger or an issue with them. Like, I can't even believe they didn't take a picture of the deck. It's like the best part of the house. So those are the ways you get those things. And also associate yourself as their realtor. Use all that phrasing that we talked about.
Absolutely. That's excellent. A great point, Sean. And Sean is absolutely right. And that's what works for Sean. And that's what'll work for all of you also, especially in the beginning of your careers. Will that change over time? Absolutely. But what do you mean? Why would I want to change what Sean just said? Well, with more experience comes exactly that. You see, if I walk into a home, my goal is to get the listing. If I'm you right now, my job, my goal is set the appointment and get the listing. Point out those beautiful features. Get to know more about the home. You see, that's the beautiful part about this organization. You're going to get different takes because I can guarantee you Maria Lauren's take when she takes a listing is going to be completely different than Sean's. And that comes through her experiences, the type of clientele you're working with. Because sometimes, and in the beginning of your career, you should be focused. You should absolutely be focused on getting that listing, highlighting those features, finding out what they love about the home. Because people do love to talk about themselves and their home. Unfortunately, it's our job to get them to disassociate with that by the time we list, right? We want to depersonalize, we want to declutter. We actually don't want them to love their home anymore, right? Because now it's an object. Now we're trying to sell that object, okay? But, and Maria Lauren doesn't have to give her opinion, but what I can do is I can attest that I do look for material defects, right? I want to know the ins and outs of that home because in my state of New Jersey, if I'm aware, I must disclose, right? I want to be a professional on that home. I want to know all the issues and details because if that arises in the future, and Sean makes a great point, get the listing and then bring that up. You don't have to talk about it now, right? But if you do notice as you're touring the basement, a foot of the sheetrock has been taken up around the perimeter of the basement, it is your job to ask why. You cannot turn a blind eye to material defect. Blatant, right? If you can see it, you should be asking questions, right? Because ultimately you have a license to protect you here in the future. You don't have to go ahead and nitpick about absolutely everything. But as a professional, you want to know the pros and the cons because that will come up later, right? Whether it's during inspections, CO, you name it, you want to be able to answer those questions. You want to be able to navigate those terms, those waters, so to speak. But yes, you definitely, your job is to, because now you're talking, it's positive, guys. When you're getting through the door, you're taking your tour, you're building rapport, you're getting to highlight features, you're laughing, you're being personable. You are not walking around with a clipboard, right? You're not just checking things. Yeah, okay. No, people work with people that they like. I'll say it to the day that I die. People work with people that they like. This is your opportunity. And then when you are sitting down talking about your strategies, your 88-point marketing plan, how you leverage our organization, your online presence, right? Social media to truly market that home, coupled with professional photography, videography. Those are the details. They want to just know that you have a plan. That's what you're going to do. Do you think they want you to break down that 88-point plan? The answer is no. Do you have an 88-point plan? The answer is yes. You do have an 88-point plan. Guys, a lot of this will happen on its own, right? And it's some of the most minor details. Number 9, syndicate advertising on the internet. Yeah, that's going to happen automatically. Seller doesn't know that, right? Show them why you're going to earn your commission. Show them what you've done. You guys follow me? Is everybody following me? You've learned where to find sellers, how to generate more listings. Today's goal is to learn how to create dialogue, having a script in your head. This is not a typical line by line cold call script. You can take all of this and break it down and create your own script. But would this make you more confident? Having this type of information when you're setting that appointment, when you're walking through the door, that's why people don't walk through the door. That's why people don't pick up the phone. That's why people don't get appointments, because they don't know what to say. But you do. You're a licensed professional. Two things sell a home: marketing and pricing. Which one do you want to talk about first? And this is marketing. If you had this type of information at your disposal, would you feel more confident? If you knew, or if you could paraphrase this to really master it, because you're not going to be there going again, word for word, line for line. Although I do have a gift for you guys who have made it to this call. If you're here at the end of the call, I'm going to share that with you. Okay. And if you're watching this on the recording, you have to reach out to me directly for this little gift. But with that said, does anybody feel more confident, understanding, walking through the door, building rapport, taking that tour, letting the seller know that this is exactly what you're going to do to get that home sold? It's going to take a combination of marketing and pricing, and we have not gone into pricing yet, and we will. But there's anything here that you're not comfortable or confident in, let me know, right? Let me know if you're not confident with having information like this at your disposal to study, to really, because again, this is not rocket science, guys. It starts with you. This should give you the confidence that you're looking for. Role play. You want to role play? Call me. We'll role play. Right? We can set up a chat for that. We can set up a Zoom for that. You know what I did when I didn't have anybody in the beginning of my career? I stared at myself in the mirror and I talked to myself. I recorded myself. You know, I created this years ago. And what I would do is, and I kid you not, I would record myself. Basically, blank dialogue with the seller. And I would record myself. And when I would record myself, every time I got in the car, I would listen to myself. I'd make myself believe that if I were there in front of me, would I use me to sell that home? Sounds crazy, right? That's how I role played. That's how I mastered my script. That's how I mastered what I was going to say. Well, Mike, no, I'm not confident because they're just going to ask me about how many homes I sold. I never gave anybody an opportunity to ask me. Stop thinking people care how many homes you sold. What does that have to do with them? And you know what happens when you go in there and the first thing you're talking about is your resume? How many homes you sold? Multi-millions. I sold so many homes in Mount Laurel, this, that, and that. What you're doing is you're taking out the personal touch. That's great. And you must know what you're talking about. And what happens when people do that is they rest on their laurels. Right? They become automated. Can you build a great business that way? Sure. Sure, you could. Could you get referrals that way? Yeah. You want to be automated? You want to go and take the listing and just pump it off to your assistants? Yeah. Well, it's going to take years and years to get there. And in the beginning of your career, it's going to be you. And I hope you can scale it. I hope you take the confidence, the tools and resources from the trainings that we have week over week, and you apply and you build your business. But until then, this is where we're at. You've got to do it yourself. I want to talk about pricing. Does anybody know how we price a home? Because now that you clearly know how to market a home, how are you going to price it? So it's pretty simple. And I'm going to go over pricing fees and objection to fees. But what I do when running comparables is typically a 6-month, 2-mile radius comparative market analysis. And basically all that means is I'm running the comps for the currently actives and the recently solds. And all this is going to do is help us gauge a starting point when and where to list your home. Where we end up is to be determined, and you can make the argument it's only worth what a buyer is willing to pay. As I like to say, the market predicates price, the consumer dictates value. And it's a line that I've used for years. Why? Because there's no doubt. The market predicates price, the consumer dictates value. Right? It's only worth what somebody's willing to pay for it. But we still need support. I let them know it's my job as your realtor to market the property to the point where we have buyers believing it's worth every penny we say that it is. See, I'm paraphrasing this, but that's my job. My job when I list your home, Kim, is to make buyers believe it's worth every penny we say it is. And that's where a lot of the negotiations take place. But we have to get there. And if we can't get people through the door, we can't capture their attention online, then it doesn't transition into an appointment. We've got to get them through the door. Our goal is to make them fall in love with the home. And then at that point, it's up to them to decide whether or not they want to submit an offer or not. You got to keep in mind that list price is a barrier to entry. Maybe they don't like your price. Maybe they don't like it. What are you going to do? I've got support here in front of us saying your home is worth every bit of $250,000 as it stands. Yeah, but I'm looking for 300. Can I ask you where you came up with that number? Oh, it's just what I want for my home. Well, and I understand that, but my goal is to help you get there. The reason why we're listed at 250,000 is because we have support. You have to keep in mind that 9 times out of 10, a buyer that walks through that door is going to end up financing this home. And that mortgage is going to have an appraisal contingency. The bank has to protect their interests. Now, I do understand that you want $300,000 for your home. And I'm not saying we can't get there. But we have to list a home where we have baseline support, where we have true comparables. And I'll have those comparables, whether they're there in my bag or I email that to them. I'm showing them how I came up with my value. I want it to make sense for them. Because here's the problem. We could list it for $300,000 and a buyer can offer $300,000. But if it doesn't appraise, what are the odds that that buyer is going to be able to make up that difference? See, my job is not just to list your home. It's to get it sold. Now, when I talk about barrier to entry, it doesn't mean that that's where the market is capped. That's going to be decided on whether or not, again, that buyer is willing to pay more. And that's going to be set forth in the price and the terms. Guys, this is what we've been dealing with for the past 2 years. If we can't overcome price objections from sellers, then who's the professional? What are we doing there? Anybody? If you can't explain and articulate how you came up with your number, I have a listing appointment tomorrow morning. I'll be damned if I go in there and we're not going to list where I have support. But what are we doing there if we can't articulate why it's so important to list where we have baseline support? How, if we price it at market value or slightly under, now we have an opportunity to draw a multiple offer situation depending on the demand in that market that we're serving. And what happens when there's high demand? There's multiple offers. And with multiple offers, there is a chance that we can get more than market value for your home. But we need the right terms. The right terms are going to involve a few things. Appraisal gap contingency waivers, not necessarily the waiver of an appraisal, because we only know, guys, banks can do that. Buyers can't. Buyers agents can't. And we need to be able to see proof of funds. This way, when we accept an offer, that first offer, our goal is to get through the process into the settlement table. We don't want to make it halfway through and then we start this process all over again. I'm going to vet the offers. I'm going to present them to you. And then together, but ultimately it will be your decision on what offer that you end up ultimately accepting. But you got to be able to negotiate. You've got to be able to pull those terms in order to fetch that over market value over a list. But you've got to be confident in your number. If you're not confident in your number, what makes you believe that they're going to be confident in you? Here's another thing that I really want to touch base on. Let me move this out of the way. It's our fees. And a lot of the times what ends up ultimately happening is we discount our services just to get the job done. Guilty. I've done it. Right? I've done it. We've all done it. For friends and family, we'll do it. But guys, do you ask your tax accountant for a discount? Your hairstylist for a discount? Your interior designer for a discount? No. It's how they support their families. Why should we be discounting our services when there's an industry or market standard? Now, depending on where you're located, that could be 6%, that could be 5%, that could be 4.5%, it could be 4%. It all depends on your market. But I like going for 6. Right? And I make it very clear. Yes, it is negotiable, but I let them know right off the bat what my fee is. And that's 6%. Now that 6% is split with the cooperating broker who brings us a ready, willing, and able buyer. I go on to state that we participate with brokers and buyer representatives in order to get your home sold as quickly as possible. These buyer agents are incentivized to cooperate with us for a shared portion of our agreed upon commission. In turn, we split that 6% 3 and 3. I go on to let them know too. On top of my 88-point marketing plan, there are no additional fees for the photography, videography, or target marketing. This is all at my expense. Now, my brokerages, not my clients, but my own. I personally take on these associated costs at my own risk because I don't believe in upcharging my clients. And that's the truth. I don't upcharge my clients. I am a one-stop shop. I am a true professional. And yet you're going to tell them all that. And what are they going to do? They're going to object. They're going to object. And then you're going to be stuck, what? Just accepting it? Yeah, but Maria Lawrence said she would do it for 5%. And, her marketing plan is very similar to yours. Well, it should be. We're part of the same team. But Maria Lawrence said she'll do it for 5. Okay, well, what I've learned over the years is that when an agent is willing to discount their services, you typically see a direct correlation with not only their ability to market, but their willingness to market. And what I mean by that is, now that agent has agreed to work for less. In turn, are they less motivated and committed to delivering 100% on their services? And what I've also learned is that after the first conversation with the client, if that same agent is willing to compromise on their own fee, I don't know about you, Kim, but I have to ask myself, is that the same agent I want negotiating the largest asset I own? Look, I've never made any guarantees or representations in my career other than one. I will work hard and diligently in order to help you achieve your goal. I pride myself and anybody who knows me on my ability, transparency, and integrity. That's what you get when you hire me. And that's why my fee is 6%. And let me tell you guys something. I have walked out of listings where I had it completely locked up, completely, 100%, 99.9%. But what ends up ultimately happening, they want me to budge on my fee. I have literally lost listings because and this happened most recently last summer. I went in, they loved me, a referral from a past client. When you think it's going to be a slam dunk, right? It's a referral from a past client. I went in there, I told them what my strategy was. To be honest with you, I just go in with a CMA, guys. I know what to say, right? Because I've said all this stuff over and over again. And you will too. But I go in there literally with the comps, right? Marketing, leave that up to me. That's why I'm quite literally a professional marketer. That is my job. Okay. And I can go in, and if you really want to know what we do, I will send you a breakdown of our 88-point marketing plan. But they wanted me to discount my services. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it. I stood true to myself. And at that point, you know, was I upset? I mean, a little perturbed, but I was happy. I was happy. Because you know what also happens when I bow down, or when you bow down and you accept that lower fee? They're in control, not you. They dictate, not you. This is my fee. It's negotiable according to the state of New Jersey Real Estate Commission, Division of Insurance and Banking. However, my fee is non-negotiable. This is what I charge. Take it or leave it. Confidence, your ability to articulate why you are worth what you are worth. You've got to have that. When you have that confidence, when you know what to say, you will pick up the phone